try to do this. I'm new to the whole live thing, but I've been told that you're supposed to wait a little bit, see if anybody shows up. If they don't, that's fine. I will keep talking. But I hope you guys are doing well. If you guys can't tell, I am in our youth room, surrounded by some of you right now. I thought it'd be a good way for me to be reminded of you. In case, although you're not here in New Mexico, I'll still let you be part of this, so enjoy. Hope you guys are doing well. So I'm by Sophie, Victoria, Ethan Duckett, Oscar right now, but you guys are all around here, so I hope you guys are doing well. I hope I have enough memory on my phone to do this. I hope this works continuously. I think we're good, but I figured out that I hold on to pictures way too long. I don't even know if I should tell you this, I have 11 gig of photos on my phone. It's hard for me photos are memories. That's how I remember you guys, how I remember my kids. So I need to put some things on the cloud. I know I need to start doing kind of some of that kind of stuff. But so I am deleted a ton of videos that I already posted. So yes, I know 11 gig is a lot of gig. So I'm working on cleaning that up. My name is Adam, and I have a photo problem. But when we get started with you today, this is going to be really short. Something that the Lord's been teaching me. And then I have something at the end here to show you. Hopefully you guys will be getting soon something in the mail from me. If you did, let me know. I don't know if any of those made it to your homes yet. I don't know if our mail is that quick, but you should be getting some things soon in the mail from me. Sort of something I sent out to everyone in our youth group. I think about 62 letters. So if you didn't get one, please let me know. I may have forgotten to put a stamp on one of them, or I forgot to put the address on them. I think I have one of those that I'm afraid that I did. One fell in the office, and I just found that yesterday. So if Gwen Toll is listening or will listen to this, yours is coming. It's just going to be a little bit late. But that should be coming. Hopefully that can be an encouragement to you, and hopefully that can be something that can sort of keep your mind where it needs to be. I'm going to be doing this for probably at least every Wednesday, something along these lines, and a lot of it's going to be just devotional, very short. And the biggest thing that I have been doing in my own personal walk with the Lord is going through the book of Mark. I've never done a ton of long, hardcore study through the Gospels. And so for about 3 weeks, I've been just reading through Mark in my own personal devotion. Maybe it'll lead to something else down the line, but that is what the Lord has been teaching me. Mark is a short book. It's very succinct. And yet, for me, there's so much that the Lord has been opening my eyes to. And this is something that is really secondary in the actual context of the passage. But this stuck out to me yesterday, and I said, I need to share this with the teens. And that's found in Mark chapter 3. And Mark chapter 3, the very first 6 verses, are really the close of 4 problems that the Pharisees had with Jesus, what he was doing. He was healing when he shouldn't be healing. He was saying he was forgiving sins when only God could forgive sins. His disciples were pulling grain and eating, working on the Sabbath. And so in chapter 3, it comes to the final one of these in this section, and that is him healing someone on the Sabbath. And so that's the big thing in this section. The big context is Jesus is greater than man's external traditions. He is truly Lord of the Sabbath. And for Jews, that was mind-blowing. But there's something else that caught my attention. And I just want to read you the first 3 verses here. It says, "And he," that's Jesus, "entered again into the synagogue. And there was a man there which had a withered hand." More than likely, he had some sort of problem with the hand. It wasn't something he was born with, whether an accident or a problem. This hand had just sort of shriveled up and become ineffective. So this man had a need, had a problem. And it says in verse 2, "And these are the Pharisees, they watched him, whether he would heal him on the Sabbath day, that they might accuse him." In the book of Matthew, it says the same story, and it gives a little bit of a different venue and almost pictures as if they put this guy out there to see if he would do it. They were trying to jump on him. And the thing that the Lord really hit me over the head as I looked at this and I read over this multiple times is that these individuals, these Pharisees, were manipulating this invalid, this injured man, for the purpose of trying to cause Jesus to stumble, to hopefully, in essence, try to kill him. And the thing that really resounded with me is the fact that how often do you and I look at people and we don't see them as people. We see them as a means to an end. We see them as just an obstacle. We see them as something that we can use for our advantage, and then we're done with them, we can move on. And these Pharisees, supposedly supposed to be the religious elite of this group, they looked and saw him and they said, there's not a person with a need, there's someone that we can use to get what we want. Teens, moms, dads, parents, whoever it is who's watching this, my challenge to you is, who right now in your life have you glossed over or have failed to even really identify them as a person? I've been reading a book for pastors on how to just be an effective pastor. It's my desire. And in the book, which has been really just a shot or a slap in the face to me, this writer of it, who's a professor, who is a professor to guys who want to be pastors, was sharing with them over and over these counseling responsibilities of how to handle different people, how to counsel them and love on them, show them Christ. And a response from one of these pastors was the response of, okay, we get that, sir. Okay, we understand we're going to have these projects. Now move on to how do we deal with them. And the reality was what had happened. This individual, this guy who wants to be a pastor, had ended up viewing people as projects. He couldn't even call them people. And here the Pharisees, the spiritually elite, looked and said, I don't even see a man with a need. I see a way to get what I want. And so I thought about, it's very clear. Jesus then goes, and he doesn't do this in secret. He pulls this man up on and around everyone, and he heals them right away because Jesus sees a need. He doesn't see, I'm breaking the Sabbath. No, here's a way I can save someone. It reminds me of 1 Samuel 16 where God says, man looks on the outward appearance, but the Lord looks on the heart. See, Pastor Adam, I understand that I can't see the heart. No, we can't. But as believers, we must see people as people with needs. In our own self-righteousness, my challenge is to how do we view people? Are people a means to ends? Teens, how do you view your parents? Do you realize that your parents are people? Teens, if you notice in my office, outside my office, there's a giant button that says teens are people too. They are. They sure are. I could get just an equal button that says teens parents are people too. They're not just a resource for you to live and eat and find security and safety, and then once they're done, you move on. They're children of God who have needs. Do you view them as that? For me, as I walk around people right now, and if I go out to get groceries or stuff for my family, it's really easy to see people around as just annoyances. Or that person who is in a hazmat suit saying 2319 or whatever it is from Monsters Inc. as they're running around, and you look at them and you sort of smirk a little bit. But there's a need. You look at those black-holed raccoon maybe looking people who have been up at the grocery store checking out forever and ever and ever. And they're sick and tired of people judging that maybe they looked at their hands too long, or people are being really picky about everything, and they seem a little sarcastic or really just edgy. There's needs going on there. How do you view your staff and your teachers, teens, now? I'll say this, being here and going by rooms with Mr. G, how often he is online, and actually the reality of it is, maybe you don't realize it, but teachers are working even harder now, trying to prepare ahead of time, figuring out electronics and figuring out how to do movies and videos, and they're working even harder. Do you realize there are people with needs? How do you view that grouchy neighbor that's always outside your house and never says hi, or is always upset that your basketball rolled over into their yard, or that person that just always seems self-absorbed? Do you realize the needs that are there? Or are we, because we're so caught up in our own stuff that they're a problem, they're out of my league, they're ones that are untouchable, whatever it might be. The question that you may ask is, okay, so Pastor Adam, what's my problem? What gets in the way of that? What causes me to not see people, instead see objects or see a tool that I can use for my advantage? I just put down really 4. And the Pharisees give a lot of these examples. First off, our own motives, desires, our expectations. What we want gets in the way. I don't have time for that. My mom and dad should be thinking about me. I don't need to worry about their needs. They're adults. They take care of it themselves. For the Pharisees, one of the biggest reasons for them seeing Christ as a means to get out of the way and just using people as pawns was their own jealousy. Man, I want what he has. I want the support. I want the joy, the expectation, the pride, the acknowledgement that he's receiving. And so I'm going to see people as a means or a ladder rung to be able to get to where I need to get, whoever I need to step on. You know, it's another reason that we sort of see people or don't see people for who they are or see them as people, image bearers of Jesus, I think is because of trials and suffering. That goes back to our own selfish circumstances, our own needs. But teens, especially even more so now, through trials, through difficulties, through inconveniences, we need to be viewing people through that lens. The last one is this. Maybe you see them and say, you know what, their needs aren't that big. Maybe even you see them, you see a need, but that's not that big. You know, in Matthew, sort of the connotation it gives is that they knew he had a need, but it wasn't a life-threatening need. Jesus could have healed him on Monday or Sunday or the day after the Sabbath, right? His need was not life-threatening. And yet, as Christ tells us, the two greatest commandments, number one, love the Lord with all our heart, soul, and mind. Number two, love our neighbor as ourselves. You know what? We take our needs normally greater than everyone else's needs, even when they are so small. So your question, hopefully, is this, Pastor. Okay, I struggle with that. If you're like me, I struggle with that. How do I grow in this? Well, number one, how did he talk to Pharisees? What was his solution for the Pharisees? And if you want to know one, go to his one-on-one with the Pharisee. That's Nicodemus. In John chapter 3, what did he tell Nicodemus? What was his solution? It was to be born again, to be saved. Teens, you cannot see people the way God sees people unless he is indwelling in you. He is part of your life. Maybe someone's listening to this who isn't a child of God, and there's no hope apart from Christ working and indwelling you for you to be able to see people through that lens. Maybe some of the reasons our lenses are a little dirty right now, are marred, is because we haven't absorbed and surrounded ourselves with being around Christ to catch hold of that vision. Maybe now's the time again to get back into that, the Word, to get back into talking to Him. Lord, help me today to see you. Help me today to view individuals, big or small, ones that I take for granted, ones that I don't think are that important, ones that are just brought in today to just this moment. Help me to see them that way. You got to be in His Word. Are you daily reminded to be in His Word? Some of you are think about school now maybe more than you did before, because teachers are always constantly sending you links to Zoom, sending you links to this. Don't forget your homework. Don't forget to watch this video. Don't forget to do all these things. What's happening? Daily, you are being reminded of that. Teens, I encourage you to find ways in which to remind yourself daily. There's nothing magical. There's nothing mystical about every day from a certain time to this time to getting in God's Word. You don't all of a sudden start to grow spiritual muscles in incredible places. Life doesn't work that way, but it does help you to grow. I thought of the old song that we sang as one of our songs for Winter Retreat this year, and that's Be Thou My Vision. The first verse, be thou my vision, O Lord of my heart, not be all else to me, save that thou art. Thou my best thought, by day or by night, waking or sleeping, thy presence my light. The prayer is for Christ to be that vision. Lord, be that vision for me. It says some thoughts we don't talk. Not to be all else to me, save that thou art. Nothing else, Lord, be the vision. No other lens that I view my life or view people should be there. Let me throw those glasses away and let me put yours on. Day or night, waking or sleeping. So teens, again, this is just a short challenge of my heart that the Lord has really been working on mine. Just a simple aspect is He's saying, I'm Lord of the Sabbath. The people who should have seen Christ first, who should have realized He was the Messiah first, were the ones that weren't even close. And yet the reality of it is we are so often like those Pharisees. We find ourselves so easily swayed into our own justification of giving ourselves our own acceptance and saying we are the kings of our castles. We are sitting on the throne of our hearts. And yet, teens, for those of us who have been saved, that can't be the case. That tears apart how we view people. So my challenge again to you is just again to encourage you in this light. Whether one person sees this or 101 people see this, for me it has changed my life, and God's truth is that way. I challenge you to get into it. So quickly, I want to let you know of things that are available to you. Last week I mentioned this. Again, I'm going to post this for those that are just bored and watching this. But I wanted to go through some things in which I said, anything you need, devotional-wise or help-wise, I would love, they're here for you. I'll mail them to you. I'll disinfect them. I'll make sure I won't sneeze on them. I won't lick them. I'll send them back, send them out to you. They're yours to keep. I'm not asking for anything, but I do have a ton of, a good deal of devotionals available. I'm a Wilds guy, which is a camp in North Carolina. I love their stuff, but there's some devotionals they have that are on point. How to exposing counterfeit Christianity, how to have character in crisis. There's one here on just a biography, doing a biography of God. If you're wanting one of those, jump on that. I've got, if you're going to listen to this later, maybe, and your guy in the youth group is a 6th grader or maybe young 7th grader, I've got a couple that are really geared toward their age level. Could be really helpful. I've got a couple Bible reading plans that are really helpful. I don't know where to start. These are great things to go. Oh, by the way, Aubrey, tell you want to know what's on the seats. These are your names. So Aubrey, you're in here somewhere. Oh, you're over there. All right. But these are just helping me think of you guys, miss you, and I feel like you're here. Other things I've got is for maybe guys, but specifically just teenagers. This is always sort of geared toward guys, but in our culture today, it's not just for guys. For all this free time, you may be really struggling with something, maybe pornography. You have all this free time, maybe your mom and dad are still working, it's just you in your room. And so I have something that's really short. It's called Lest You Fall. It's just a little daily meditational things to chew on every single day. A thought to meditate on as you try to wrestle with this. I encourage you don't message me on public thing, but message me privately. I won't bring your attention up, but I know more than likely with 60 teens in our youth group, 50, 60 teens in our youth group, there are at least probably, statistics say, probably a third of you, if not more, that are struggling with this right now. And if you want help in a time where it's really giving you the ability to get a hold of that even more, feel free to contact me. I'll try to help. This is a great resource. Also, if you're readers, right, you love to read, I have a plethora of really simple, straightforward missionary biographies, church biographies of individuals. Pastor, I want to keep my heart really focused. I want to have that passion for Jesus. Then I encourage you, one of the great ways to do that is read books of those who have done that before, and that passion is captivating. Read Jim Elliot and Dying Young for the Cause of Christ. It's saturated with that. And then one last thing. I only have one of these, and maybe it looks a little kiddish, but I don't think it really is. This is geared for if you have someone who is really likes creative writing, likes to write, likes to express themselves through writing. This is called In Their Sandals, and it is a great devotional that enables them to creatively express and communicate some of their thoughts and actions and what's going on in the passage, and trying to put you in biblical stories, and really it makes it come alive. So that's just a small sampling. Any of these are for you guys. I'm not asking for money. If something if you wanted one and someone already grabbed it, I'll try to get you another one. It may take 3.5 years for Amazon to get it here, but we will do whatever it takes. Your spiritual growth is so important to me. And yet daily I have to remind myself, Lord, help them grow. I can't make it. The spiritual growth is on you. I can try to surround yourself with some fertilizer to help you do it, but you're responsible for that. And so that's it. It's a short little challenge. I'll try to post this if I can later again, but my prayer is that God will this week change your vision of those around you as seeing people with needs. God bless. I hope you guys have a great rest of the night. I'll pray real fast here, and then you guys can stay at home. Dear Jesus, I thank you for the fact that your truth, your gospel changes our life. It changes our actions, and here as we focus, it changes our view of how we look at people. I pray that you will give each one of us, teens, adults, children, will watch this, Lord, a desire to know that through your help, through the gospel that changes our life, we can see the needs of people, and then, like the Good Samaritan, act on those needs to provide hope of the gospel to people. We love you. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen. Have a great night.